3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, Gery Deer with 321 Profits, the podcast, and we are here with John Young. Say hi, John.
Hi.
And we're at Young's Jersey Dairy, and the new dairy store you can see behind us is really big and very fancy. And John's going to explain to us a little bit about how you can come and now watch them make ice cream and cheese.
Cheese.
Right? We're going to see that? Oh,
Yes.
go listen to the podcast. So let's see what we're looking at here. See, this is just come in the front doors, and you just look to the left, and you've got this. Tell us what we're looking at, John.
So all of this stuff was in the original store that was built back in the 50s. So right now we've got 3 ice cream machines working simultaneously. One is technically a gelato machine, the one on the far left. But they're making, I think it says butter pecan. I can't quite
Let's
read
see if
the
we
label.
can zoom in.
Ooh, cookie dough. I can see the cookie dough.
Looks like cookie dough.
Cookie dough. So this machine's making cookie dough. They all make different quantities. So right now we're putting those in 3 gallons. So those are the 3 gallons. They go in the case. So when you come get a 2-dip cone of cookie dough and a waffle cone, it'll come from one of those.
And you can buy ice cream right here out of the case, right?
Yes,
to
packaged
take
ice cream,
home.
half gallons, pints. We have a pint sale every year. This year it's in March. You have to go to our website, youngsdairy.com, to find the exact dates. I don't have those memorized.
Got it?
And then over here we've got our cheese making. So we're currently making cheese. Those are all the presses. And actually that big thing over there, that's called the variegator. That's what we use to make pretty swirls in the ice cream. We've got all our weights and presses over there.
We're gonna go past this.
And
Now they're
then-
doing some work. We're actually, what's going on here? You're
We've got
putting
some-
the siding on,
We've
right?
got some construction going on. So our idea was to warm up this side of the room when you come in, because when they first constructed this building,
It's a little
it was
stark.
all white walls.
Yeah.
So we painted. So what we did is we filled it with some history pictures, a big ice cream sticker over there, and then over here we went with the red siding. So it's a similar red siding that we used on what I call the original dairy store, but not the original dairy store. The dairy store that everyone knows that was built in '68.
Right.
So it's going to look kind of like that. There's going to be some awnings, and we'll have some seats here so you can watch cheese being made for 10 hours a day, because it's a pretty boring process.
So we're gonna go past this. What's going on in there?
So they are stirring the cheese. They are working on your curds and whey, as you are aware of it. So that's milk from this morning's session, and basically does that for about 6 hours. They get the temperatures right and the pH levels right, and then we start.
That gets the butterfat moving around, and this is now. When I was a kid, no kidding, we did it by hand.
Okay.
We had a churn, and the whole thing. My hand, it was like a 3-foot butter churn.
Right.
And my mom and I would take turns,
Yeah.
and then she had a little gallon job.
Okay.
And the gallon one you had a crank on
Yeah.
with little paddles
Right.
inside it. And this looks like it would be a lot easier.
It is. And it's a tedious process. It takes about 12 hours from start to finish.
So let's see if we can look inside.
There's a video on our YouTube channel that's about a 10-minute video that I shot over the full course of a day.
To show how it's all done.
It was essentially I would go somewhere else. Mike would call me, say, hey, something's happening. I would come over and shoot that for 2 seconds. And then I would go back to what I was doing, and he'd go back to what
That's how you have to do it, though, right?
It is. Eventually, we're going to have a camera on the inside facing down, and a TV will be up here.
So you can see
So you
inside.
can see inside it a little
that's
easier, because
really
as you had
cool.
just to angle your phone just to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So you'll be able to, the idea is to put some bar stools here. They can come and sit and watch all this stuff happen and sit and eat their ice cream. And
Yeah. So you're in line here on the busy fall days, you're in line here, so you can watch ice cream being made theoretically 7 days a week, cheese being made literally 7 days a week. You can watch it all being made while you're waiting in line. Keep the kids busy. The line moves pretty quick in our new store. Even on our busy days, it was about 20 minutes from door to ordering, which is pretty quick when you consider it's about 100 people.
now, how many people does this building hold now?
This building holds
Correctly.
Anywhere from 200 to 300, and then outside we're going to have a covered. There's a piazza out. Well, there's a piazza out here with the bricks. The porch is about twice as big as the old store was, and then there's another area over there that's going to be covered this spring. That seats another 200, so it's about 500 in and out.
And it looks like everybody can, and we talked about this in the podcast a little bit, but as we walk back, we're going to head back over that way. As we walk back, you can see that there's a lot of spaced out area here, so people don't have to feel like they're condensed or worried about COVID or something.
Yeah, so the old dining room fit about 120 to 150, and then we brought that down to 90 during the pandemic. This one sits about 220 as is. We don't anticipate packing any more tables and chairs in there,
Yeah.
but there is a lot more space between the tables.
And you can just kind of see where it starts, and there's a party room back there. We'll visit that. That's where we actually did the podcast, if you watch that part of the video. And then you still have your gift shop here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we put it right here, so basically this is where you wait for your ice cream. So you order your ice cream over there, you stand right here and order your ice cream and say, oh,
You got something to do.
I would like a Young's t-shirt.
Yes, of course you would, because you're going to put that on when you go traveling.
Go Young's around the world, so you take it on somewhere exciting, and then you take a picture and send it to us, and we'll put it somewhere. Website.
So if I get a picture of me wearing the shirt in Bowersville,
Sure.
Ohio.
Why not?
Which I bet you don't have one from there, because nobody thought of it.
Probably not.
Or New Jasper Station, Ohio.
It doesn't seem familiar.
I'm telling you, Milledgeville.
No,
you guys are
I
missing
don't.
out. All these places.
I'm unaware of Milledgeville.
You don't know where Milledgeville is?
No, I don't.
So we're gonna walk around this end. So the patio out here, you're gonna cover that, right?
Yes.
That's what we're looking at outside. And then here's more of the dining room. We'll just walk completely around.
We've got historical pictures up through the dining room.
Let's zoom in on a couple of these. There's
So that's in the late 50s, early 60s, adding on to the original red barn. And then the picture below that is a picture I took of what it looks like now. And then over here, the top picture is Hap and Mildred, so my great-grandparents with, see, that's Blair, Dan, no, Ben, Dan, Blair, Deb, Brian. And then the one below that is Ben and my dad with their collective 6 grandkids.
Wow. And then you've got the original dairy store there.
Right. I love that picture just because of the old cars here.
Look at these cars.
And this,
Yeah.
this guy just coming for an ice cream chat in a 3-piece suit.
Well, that's what you did then.
I mean,
It was probably a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Most likely.
and this sign up here, that one right there, that says Hap Young and Sons. We can't find that for the life of us. If I find that, that'll be a treasure.
Maybe you get somebody to rebuild that for you and stick it in here.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Okay, we're back with Dan and John from Young's Jersey Dairy in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and we're talking a little bit about how everything has changed over the years, and here we are in part 2 of our 2-part episode. And one of the things that's interesting is that you guys do a lot of charity work.
Yes, we
You
do.
do lots of charity work. So, Dan, tell me about some of the charities you're involved with. I know you have the bike tour in the summers, and you have some other things going on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Young's Ice Cream Charity Bike Tour, that's been going on for, this will be our 20th year, I believe. We got involved with that. Someone stopped by and said, hey, would you like to be involved with the beginning and the end of a bike ride? And I went, at the time I was kind of getting into riding a bike, I said, sure.
Not knowing what you were up for, huh?
Seems like a thing. And so we learned how to do it that way with a local committee, most of which I'm still working with.
Mm-hmm.
It changed over the years a little bit, but about 20 years ago, this was actually a couple years before that, but then 20 years ago we kind of created our own, the Young's Ice Cream Charity Bike Tour, and we picked 4 local charities to work with. Right now, for the last several years, we've been working with the Alzheimer's Association, the JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, URS, which is United Rehabilitation Services, and South Community, which is one of the larger ones here in the area, and they work with a lot with younger kids, mental health issues, and many other things also.
Mm-hmm.
So a bunch of us get together and put on a bike ride, and folks raise money for it.
Now you're saying a few of us get together and put on a bike. This is
Yeah.
no small bike ride. How many did you have the last big one before COVID?
Around 250
250 people.
riders. Yep.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
And they go for how you've got a century ride. You've got what? How many different versions of the ride do you have?
5 different versions. The last 2 years we've gone to a 1-day ride,
Okay.
and that's worked out pretty well for us. But you still got from 24 miles to 100 miles.
Okay. And
Or-
every variation in between those.
Or as a couple people pointed out, it was actually like 102 miles.
Yeah, it's always 102 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Everyone I've gone on says 100 miles.
Yeah.
I want my extra 4 miles that are at the end of this thing. I don't know why they're always that way.
Yeah, and the year
last
before, I
two
think it
is
was
very
like
important.
2 miles short And so I said, well,
Let's say it makes
just
it
ride
up.
up and down the parking lot.
Right,
Yeah.
that'll make your extra
Yeah.
2 miles.
Yeah.
So when you, and I should tell people listening not from the area, we have a very intricate trail system here. That's the Rails to Trails Conservancy, but your bike ride goes everywhere. It's not just the trail ride; it's on the roads and
Yes.
pretty much everywhere.
So our ride includes some on the trail, but mostly is road work.
Which makes it harder, by the way.
Yeah. And we have some 4 rally rides or practice rides before, and a couple of those make use of that trail, and a couple of them are only roads also. This past year, we just gave out the money there last month. We were able to raise $80,000 that we gave to split up among those 4 charities.
Was 2020 a thing that really kept it down a little bit, or were you able to do it regardless?
The last several years, we've been bouncing around between 80 and 90.
Okay.
And over the years, the 19 years, we managed to raise and give away about $1.5 million with this ride, which has certainly exceeded my expectations or even understanding.
Now let's talk about the walkway out front. So the new building has a brick pathway or patio, I guess you could call it, that has a divider that separates it from the parking lot and the road out there. But how many bricks are in that space? Not just the ones that are labeled, but how many?
So we call it a piazza because
A piazza.
Dan goes to Italy every once in a while.
It's a piazza.
Comes back.
Piazza.
You know you're in Yellow Springs, Ohio,
I
right?
know.
He comes back with Italy words.
We call that pizza here.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's 19,000-ish bricks total
19,000
out there.
ish. And how many are now labeled?
1,151.
You looked them up,
I
didn't
did.
you? One of those belongs to my parents. We got one because of our connection to the dairy. We made sure that we got one for my mom and dad. But the idea for that was to make something really cool that people have a connection to, kind of like the building. Right? It's a little more personal. And it raised money for which charities?
So that was just one charity. So it's a local community center. It's Rocking Horse Community Health Center in Springfield.
Okay.
I've worked with them before because they're a client of mine, but they've also done some other work through us. We used to have a program called Utter Chaos. I think they were involved with one of the early iterations.
Probably.
With Utter Chaos as well, where we had you'll see the cows all over the place. The little what are they?
Fiberglass?
The
Fiberglass.
painted ones?
Yeah, the painted ones.
Yeah, they're all over, aren't they?
So, but they're an awesome organization that works with families that don't have health care or don't have other means to get health care. So we raised $36,000 for them. So that's a huge amount of money for. I mean, they're a large organization, but $36,000 goes a long way with a charity like that.
Right, and you're able to do that with the bike ride and the bricks and all the other charity things that you're involved with. You're able to do that because of the business, keeping the business going back to our original conversation, which keeping the business going and having it thrive allows you the ability to put all this stuff on because people are still coming here. You're keeping it that destination, right? And everybody's coming in. Does it add an extra level of stress to know that it needs to be successful partly for that as well?
No, I wouldn't call it stress at all.
No?
I'm completely confident that we can do stuff like that.
Right.
And we just got to we can't do one every day.
Right.
But be creative.
A couple of things a year and
come
do
up with an
something
idea,
different.
Yeah. Yep.
The bricks are a great idea because you got a nice paved area for people to have events on and be out there, and they've got something tied to it.
Right.
It's more personal that way.
Yeah, a lot of features in the new dairy store go to that, what you said about missing the old dairy store. So there's historical pictures all through the dining room. There's the timeline wall above the dairy bar and the bricks out front. So that's tying it all together of a generational business, and we've been here for a long time. So there's things that you can still see and feel if the bricks are out there that are part of the history.
And I don't know if we said this clearly enough, but there will be pictures. I'll post a picture of the. It should be there already, of the brick engraved with my parents' stuff, so you see that, but you'll see where they are as well. But and that leads you into the building, like you're walking in from the parking lot, and here's this pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piazza
Yeah.
of these bricks, and then you have all of this kind of stuff going in there. But inside the building, you have the Young's family pictures. You've got pictures of the building, the previous building being built. You have pictures of the building where the goats are and the baby goats and everything, where everybody comes over. That's being constructed. There's a photo of that. You tie all this stuff pretty well together. What does that mean from a generational family side? Is there Is there a level of concern that at some point some batch of the family's not going to want to do this anymore? I asked my brother the same question because I stepped up. I mean, I help when I'm needed, but I don't drive a truck every day. I have one. I have it all. It's been at your car show many times, but that's what it does right now. It's sort of retired, like me, when it comes to that. Do you worry? I'm going to address this to Dan because you're the elder generation here. Do you worry that someday somebody's not going to want to be a part of this anymore?
No, I don't know how long someday is, but no, for sure, I don't see that happening. There's a lot of youngsters that are here, many branches of the family now that were different generations and stuff, and I'm confident that someone or someone's will be willing to keep going forward with the business.
Are family members like John's kids or whoever, are they expected to work in the business, or it's just here if they want to?
Good question. My generation, pretty much all of us worked here.
Because it changed, right?
Yeah.
Like you were in my generation, you were sort of expected to be a part of this thing.
Yeah, it was unspoken, but it was a kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And certainly not everybody of my generation is here because they went off to do other things.
Sure.
But John's generation, we basically made a rule that they had to go do something else at some point. Now, they all grew up working here.
Yeah.
High school, that sort of thing,
right.
College, etc. And did great and learned the business from that point of view. But we said, hey, you got to go do something else for a few years, and then decide if you want to. Good side of that, we got lots of good experience elsewhere. Yeah. No, I didn't say that, but what I'm saying is,
But the likelihood is less if they're being successful
so
someplace
they got
else.
careers doing other stuff like that. But we recently, a year or two ago, I think now, brought some of John's generation in to our board, our family board. So they're officially board members. So they're involved in it that way.
Okay.
Get to see some of the more details and make decisions about what we're doing.
That may help them decide what they want to do later.
For sure,
right? I mean,
yeah. And as we're trying to figure out what it is that we're going to do next, as far as the family and the leadership and all that sort of thing, that's an important piece of it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out what it is that we need to do next.
So we're about to go to our last break of this episode. But before I do that, how many young family members work here?
I think we're at a dozen.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and if you really count second cousins, we're into more than that. Probably.
Well, yeah, go on into the whole. I mean, you got the tree here, right? So
we're probably approaching 15.
John's doing math.
I'm not included in the 12 because we talk about employees, so it's probably 18-ish.
Well, but whether you're included or not, to say you don't work here is kind of nonsense.
It is. But when we put it out there, like we had 12 or 13 family members, because that number deviates over.
It changes.
It fluctuates, not deviates. But so yeah, I would say it's with some of the younger end of the fourth generation. Those cousins work here. They're either off at school or they've gone and done other things. So it's probably 15 to 18.
Okay, very cool. All right, well,
hard to keep track of.
It changes often. Yeah. So we'll be right back after this last commercial break for our episode, and we're going to talk a little bit about you guys giving the world some sage advice. Are you ready for that?
Ooh, sure.
They're a little worried. All right, we'll be back after this. You've been listening to 321 Profits, the podcast, a media production of GLD Communications Limited.
The views expressed in this program are not necessarily those of GLD Communications Limited, its staff or management, or its advertisers. The show is produced and engineered by Julie Barth and directed and hosted by Gery Deer. This program is copyright 2022, GLD Communications Limited, all rights reserved. For more information or to learn about sponsorship opportunities, visit gldcommunications.com.